Good day, grade 8 student. So, before we start our class, let's have a short prayer. Mark Angelo, can you lead us in prayer? So, have you remember what we have discussed last meeting? Yes, so what we have discussed last meeting? So, we discussed about the law of exponents. So, today we are gonna use that for our topic today. So, but before we start our topic or lesson, let's have a short activity. So, what are you going to do is I will give you a number and you will think of a number that when you multiply, the result is that number. For example, you have 8. So, what are the two numbers that when you multiply, the result is 8? That's right. So, the first one is 1 times 8. Another, 2 times 4. That's right. So, so let's proceed now to our activity. So, the first number is 25. So, what number that when you multiply, the result is 25? Yes, Majuline. That's right, 1 times 25. Another. Do we have another number? That when we multiply, the result is 25. That's right, 5 times 5. Another example. So, um, let's have 36. Yes, Marina? That's right. So, the first one is 12 times 3. Is there any multiplicand and multiplier? That's right. It can be 2 and 18. Another. Yes, Alcantara. That's right. So 1 and 36. So this activity is our foundation for our topic today. So, do you have any idea on what are we going to discuss today? So, you have no idea what we are going to discuss today. So, our topic for today is all about factoring. So, what comes to your mind when you hear the word factoring? Based on what activity that we have done? Yes, Daniel? That's right. So, we are going to find the factor of a number. So, when we say factoring, it is the process of finding factors. It is like splitting an expression into a multiplication of simpler expression. So, from the word itself, factoring, splitting. So, splitting a term or an expression. So, for example, you have 8x. So, when we split these two terms, we can think that 8 is have a multiplier and multiplicand of 4 and 2, right? Since we have x, we are just going to copy that. So, therefore, the factor of 8x can be 1 multiplied by x multiplied by x. And another is, it can be 4 times 2 times x. So that is what we mean when we hear the factoring. Next, what is polynomials? So polynomials is defined as an expression that is composed of variables, constants, and exponents, combined using plus and minus sign. So how do we define polynomials? So for example, we have 8x plus 4. According to the meaning itself or to the definition, it has the variable. So our variable is the letter. So what letter do we have here? So that is x. So this will be our variable. And the number before the letter is what we call, any idea? That's right. That is the coefficient. And a number without a letter is what we call, yes, Daniel? That's right. That is the constant term. So, are we clear with factoring and polynomials? Do you have any question about that? So, none. So, let's proceed to our main topic, which is the factoring polynomials. Kindly read the definition. Yes, Ernesto. Thank you, Ernesto. So, factoring a polynomial is expressing the polynomial as a product of two or more factors. It is somewhat the reverse process of multiplying. So, in factoring polynomials, we are just going to find the multiplicand and the multiplier of an expression. Okay? So, in factoring polynomials, we have four different types. And that is what we are going to discuss today. So, let's proceed to the first one. So, let's have, yes, Michael, what is our first type of factoring? That's right, that is greatest common factor, or it is also known as greatest common monomial factor. Do you have any idea about greatest common factor? From the word itself, common. So, none. So, let's give you the definition of greatest common monomial factor. Kindly read the definition. Yes, Ken? Thank you, Ken. So, greatest common factor is the largest term that goes into a list of given terms in order to identify the greatest common monomial factor. Write the prime factorization of each term. And the product of the common factors is the greatest common monomial factor. So, for further understanding, we have an example here. So, for example, we have 12y cubed minus 15 y squared plus 6y. But before we proceed to this example, I will give you an idea on how we are going to deal with this equation. So, for example, you have 8 and 10. So, a while ago, we think of a number that when we multiply, the result is 8. So, we are just going to do the same. So, what are the numbers that when we multiply, the result is 8? That's right. The first one is 1 and 8. 1, 8. The second one. Yes, Leslie. That's right. 4 and 2. Okay. How about 10? So what is our multiplier and multiplicand? Yes, Janelle? That's right. So the first one is 1 and 10 and another. That's right, 5 and 2. So how are we going to find the greatest common factor? So we are just going to look for their common, the largest common. So what is the largest common here? So our largest common here is, that's right, that is 2. So that is how we deal with greatest common factor. So let's proceed to our main topic. So as you can see here, we have, let's focus first on the coefficient. 12, 15, and 6. So think of a number that you can divide on these three coefficients. So what number can you divide to 12, 15, and 6? Yes, Marina. That's right. So we can divide it by 3, or they are all divisible by 3. So we, the next, focus on the variable. So again, what is the variable? Yes, Manansala. That's right. So variable is the letter. So our letter here is, that's right, Y. Are we done with the common? Since you say yes, Mardocchio, why do you think so that we are done? So you have a point. But it doesn't mean that if we have coefficient and Y, we are done. So how are we going to say that we are done finding the greatest common factor? Yes, Amular. That's right. So we are just going to look at the exponent. So to find the exponent, we are just going to look for the lowest. So when you see a variable without exponent, it doesn't mean that the exponent is 0. But instead, it has a exponent of 1. So our lowest exponent here is, that's right, Michael, 1. So since our exponent is 1, the lowest exponent is 1, we are not going to put it in here because it is understandable that 3y has exponent of 1. So let's proceed. So the next process that we are going to do is we are going to divide the coefficient to coefficient and the variable to variable. So what is 12 divided by 3? That's right, so that will be 4. Next, So, what is y cubed divided by y? So, law of exponents. When we say law of exponents and it is quotient, so what are we going to do with the exponent? That's right, so we are going to subtract it. So, what is y? So, what is 3 minus 1? So, it is understandable that it has one exponent. So, 3 minus 1 is, that's right, 2. Then, our next process is we are just going to copy the sign. Then, next process is 15 divided by 3. What is 15 divided by 3? That's right, so 5. Then, copy the variable. Then, what is 2 minus 1? So 1, that's right. So since it has a 1 exponent, it means that we are not going to put 1 in here. Plus, so copy the sign. So what is 6 divided by 3? That's right, so that will be 2. Then next process, y. Copy the variable, then exponent minus exponent. What is 1 minus 1? 0. So y raised to 0. Are we done in here? So we are not done yet. So why do you think so that we are not done yet? That's right, because we can simplify the multiplier or simply the 2y raised to 0. So the first thing that we need to do is, that's right, so we are just going to copy the multiplicand. So 3y multiplied by, and also can we simplify 4y squared? No, so we are just going to copy that. Does 5y can be simplified? No, so we are just going to copy that also. Plus, is 2y raised to 0 can be simplified? Yes, so why do you think so that we can simplify 2y squared? 2y raised to 0. That's right, because of the low exponent, any number that is raised to 0, the result is 1. So it is understandable that it is 2 times 1. So what is 2 times 1? That's right, so that will be 2. So the factor of 12y cubed minus 15y squared plus 6y is 3y multiplied by the quantity of 4y squared minus 5y plus 2. So, are we clear with this example? So, shall we move on to another example? Okay. So, for our next example, we have 12y cubed plus 9x squared. So, what are the first thing that we need to do again? That's right, so we are going to find a number that we can divide to the both coefficients. So, what is that number that we can divide to 12 and 9? That's right, so that will be 3 multiplied by, so are we done finding the common? Not yet, because they both have the same variable. So we are going to copy the variable. The next step, are we done? Not yet, because we do not already know if the exponent is right. So we are going to look for, that's right, so we are going to look for the slowest or the lowest exponent. So that will be 2. So 3y squared. The next step, so what are next step? That's right, so we are going to divide the expression to its common monomial factor. So first is, what is 12 divided by 3? That's right, so that will be 4. Next, what is y cubed divided by y? So law of exponents. So if we have the same bases, we are just going to subtract the exponent. So copy the variable, then subtract the exponent. So what is 3 minus 2? That's right, so that will be 1. So are we going to put 1? No. So why? That's right, because that is understandable that y has an exponent of 1. Plus, what is 9 divided by 3? That's right, so that will be 3. Next, what is y squared divided by y squared? So, do you remember any number that is divided to itself, the result is 1? Multiplication identity, reciprocal identities. So, for example, you have an 8 over 8. That is 1. That's right. So what is y divided by now? They are the same. The result in here is 1. So the result in here is also 1. So since they are just the same, so y squared and y squared, the result is, that's right, so that will be 1. So 3 multiplied by 1. So are we done on finding the factor of 12y cubed plus 9y squared? Not yet. So 3y squared multiplied by, so why are we not done? That's right, because we can simplify it more. So the 4y can be simplified. No, so we are just going to copy that. Plus, so this 3 times 1 can be simplified. So what is it? What is the simplified form of 3 times 1? Yes, Ernesto? That's right, that will be 3. So that is the factor of 12y cubed plus 9y squared, which is 3y squared multiplied by the quantity of 4y plus 3. So, are we clear with the greatest common monomial factor? Yes, so shall we move on to another types of factoring? Okay, so let's move on to another type of factoring. So our next type of factoring is what we call, kindly read, let's have, yes, Cebuco. Thank you, Cebuco. So, grouping method. So, factoring by grouping means that before factoring, we must first group the terms that common factors and then take the common out of them. So for further understanding, let's have an example in here. So the first example is 6n cubed plus 3n squared plus 8n plus 4. So, since it is grouping, so we are going to, do you have any idea? That's right, so we are going to group them. So, how are we going to group them? Any idea? None. So, on grouping this equation or expression, we are just going to divide them into two groups. So, we are just going to separate them. So, this will be our separation line. So, that is what we call separation line, okay? So, our equation now have right side and the left side. So, let's focus first on 6n cubed plus 3n squared. So, 6n cubed plus 3n squared. So, what you have observed in the expression? Yes, Mark. That's right. They are both divisible by 3. At the same time, they have the same variable. So, what process are we going to use if we have that? That's right. So, we are going to use the greatest common factor. So, since Mark, you said that they have the same variable and they are both divisible by 3, can you perform the greatest common factor? So that's right. So first, we are going to find the common. So their common is, just like what Mark said, the common in here is 3n squared. So why 3n squared? So because when you think of a number that is divisible to these two numbers, that is 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's right. Then next, what is n cubed over n squared? Since they have the same variable, we are going to, what are we going to do with the exponent? That's right, so we are going to subtract the exponent. So what is 3 minus 2? 1. So are we going to put 1? No, because that is understandable that the exponent is 1. Plus, so next, 3n squared over 3n squared. Just like what we have before. If we have the same numerator and denominator, or divisor and dividend, the result is, that's right, that will be 1. So are we done in here? Finding the factors of 6n cubed plus 3n squared. Okay, so we are done. So let's move now to the right side. So let's have Angelo. So Angelo, what you have observed in 8n plus 4? That's right. So we can perform also the ECF in here. So since Angelo, you said that we can perform greatest common factor, what is their common? That's right. So they are both divisible by 4. So shall we put n in here or variable in here? So some say yes and some say no. But as a matter of fact, we are not going to put n in here because 4 doesn't have a variable. So our greatest common factor for 8n plus 4 is 4. Then let's proceed to its multiplier, or let's find its multiplier. So what is 8n divided by 4? Or let's focus first with our coefficient. What is 8 over 4? That's right. So 2. Then, since we do not have a variable in here, we are just going to, that's right, so we are just going to copy the variable. Plus, what is 4 over 4? So they are the same. What is the result? Or what is the quotient of 4 over 4? That's right, so 1. So, what can you observe with the result in the left side, the right side, and the left side? Yes, Damian? That's right. So, as you can see in here, they have the same multiplier, or they have the same they have the same 2n plus 1. So, who among you have watched Dragon Ball? Oh, all of you have watched Dragon Ball. So, do you remember fusion? Angela, so since you know fusion, what do they do in fusion? That's right. So we are just going to do the same in here. We are going to combine them. So how are we going to do that? So we are just going to combine 2n plus 1 and 2n plus 1. So they will become 1, just like in fusion of Dragon Ball. So 2n plus 1. So they will be combined. So 2n plus 1. And we write it as 1. Then, on combining 4 and 3n squared, or combining the multiplicand, we are just going to sum it. Okay? Or we are just going to add it. So, Mark Sibuko, so what is our expression for 3n squared and 4? That's right, so that will be 3n squared plus 4. And that is how we are going to perform the grouping method. So the result so the factor of 6n cubed plus 3n squared plus 8n plus 4 is 2n plus 1 multiplied by the quantity of 3n squared plus 4. So do you have any question about this grouping method? So none. Oh, you are requesting for another example. So I will give you another example. So our next example is 3x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 8. So again, what is the first step that we need to do? Let's have, yes, Tyren. That's right, so we are going to separate the two equations. So, Miss Tyren, can you separate the two equation? What will be our right side and what will be the left side? That's right, so our right side is 3x squared plus 6x, and our left side, our right side is 4x plus 8. Okay, next step, let's have Angela. So what is the next step that we need to do? That's right, so we are going to perform the GCF. So what is their common? Or what is their GCF? Okay, think of a number that you can divide to 6 and 3. Highest possible number. That's right, so that will be 3. Then next, Shall we put x? Yes, because, that's right, because we have a variable on both terms. So what will be our exponent? So what is our lowest exponent in here? That would be 1. So shall we put 1 in here? So we cannot. So next step is we are going to find the multiplier. So our multiplier in here is, what is 3 divided by 3? That's right, so that will be 1. So what is x squared divided by x? Law of exponent. If we have the same variable, we are going to subtract the exponent. So we are going to copy the variable. Then next, what is 2 minus 1? That's right, so that will be 1. So shall we put 1? Not anymore. So plus, what is 6 divided by 3? That's right, so that will be 2. Next, what is x over x? So any number divided to itself, the result is 1. So that will be 2 multiplied by 1. Then, does this equation in simplified form? Not yet. So we are going to, that's right, so we are going to simplify it. So 3x multiplied by, so what is 1 times x? Multiplication identities, any number multiplied to 1, the result is that number. So that will be 1 times x is x. Plus, what is 2 times 1? Multiplication identity again. So 2 times 1 is 2. So let's move to the right side. So what is our next step in here? That's right, so we are going to perform GCF. So what is their common? Or what number can you divide to 4 and 8? That's right, so that will be 4. 4. So shall we put x in the common? That's right. No, because, that's right, because the 8 does not have a variable. So multiplied by, so let's find the multiplier. So what is 4 divided by 4? 1. Then what is x over 1? So it is understandable that the variable in here is 1, okay? So what is x over 1? That will be x, that's right. Plus, what is 8 divided by 4? That's right, so that will be 2. So are we done on finding the factor of 4x plus 8? That's right, so we are not done yet because this is not in simplified form. So 4 multiplied by, what is 1 times x? X plus 2. Okay, so again, what is the next step? Yes, Madeline? That's right, fusion, or also known as combining. So we are not going to call it fusion. Okay, so we are going to combine them. So what? Combine x plus 2. So that will be x plus 2. They become 1. And how are we going to combine 4 and 3x? That's right, we are going to combine them by addition. So what is our equation or expression for 3x and 4? That's right, so that will be 3x plus 4. So that is how we perform again the grouping method. So are we clear with grouping method? Do you have any question about grouping method? Yan. So, shall we move on to the another types of factoring? Okay. So, another type of factoring is what we call, can you read it? Let's have any other hand? Yes, Belmonte. Okay, thank you, Belmonte. So, sum and difference of two cubes. A polynomial in the form of a cube plus b cube is called a sum of cubes. A polynomial in the form of a cube minus b cube is called difference of cubes. Okay, so we have a formula in here, but let's focus first on sum of two cubes. So let's have an example. So x cubed plus 8. So why do you think so that it is called sum of two cubes? From the word is cubes, sum. That's right, Ernesto. So when we get the cube of these two, they are perfect cube, okay? So the first step that we are going to do is find the cube root of each term. So what is the cube root of x cubed? So how are we going to find the cube root? When we say cube root, you are going to think of a number that when you multiply 3 times to itself, the result is that number or that expression. For example, in here, x cubed. What letter that when you multiply 3 times to itself, the result is x cubed? That's right, Marina. So that will be x. So that is the cube root of x cubed. The next, what is the cube root of 8? Think of a number that when you multiply 3 times itself, the result is 8. That's what's your name again? Ilanan. Okay. Thank you, Ilanan. So when you multiply 2 3 times itself, the result is 6. So therefore the cube root of 8 is 2. So in here we are going to use a formula. So the formula on getting the factor of x cubed plus 8 is a plus b multiplied by a squared minus ab plus b squared. So in here, the letter A is x and the letter B is 2. Okay? So, are you familiar with substitution principle? So you are not familiar. So substitution principle is just simply you are going to substitute the value to a certain equation. So our value of A here is x and the value of B here is 2. So let's have Mary. So can you substitute the values to the equation? Thank you, Mary. So that will be x plus 2 multiplied by x squared minus x multiplied by 2 plus 2 squared. Okay. Our next step is, that's right, so we are going to simplify it. So copy x plus 2, then simplify x squared. What is negative x multiplied by 2? That's right, so that would be minus 2x plus, what is 2 squared? So 2 multiplied to itself twice. So what is 2 times 2? That will be 4. That's right. So that is how you are going to perform the sum of two cubes. So what you have observed in here, in the equation, or in the formula. That's right. So in sum of two cubes, on the first parenthesis, you are just going to copy the sign. And for the second parenthesis, you are just going to inverse the sign for the second term. And then copy the sign. Okay? Sign of your original equation. So let's move. But before we move to another example, are you clear with this? Shall we move to difference of two cubes? Okay. Let's move to difference of two cubes. So 8x cubed minus 27. So again, in sum of two cubes, we are, what is our first step in sum of two cubes? Because that is just the same process with difference of two cubes. That's right. So our first step is we need to extract the cube root of each term. So cube root of 8x cubed and cube root of 27. So what is the cube root of 8x cubed? So focus first on the coefficient. What is the cube root of 8? That's right, so that will be 2. What is the cube root of x cubed? That's right, so x. So the cube root of 8x cubed is 2x. Thank you. So next is 27. What is cube root of 27? What is the number that when you multiply 3 times to itself, the result is 27? Let's have, yes, James. That's right, so that will be 3. So in here we have also a formula. Just like what I've said before, for the first parenthesis, we are just going to copy the sign. So what is our sign in here? That will be negative. So minus b multiplied by a squared. So opposite of negative. What is the opposite of negative? That's right. So positive. AB plus that will be the same sign. So what is the same with negative? That is negative. B squared. So let 2x be letter A and let 3 be letter B. So again, what is the next process? Let's yes, Joshua. That's right. So our next step is what we call substitution principle. So Joshua, can you substitute the given values to the equation or to the formula? That's right. So that will be 2x minus 3 multiplied by 2x squared plus 2x times 3 minus 3 cubed. 3 squared rather. So, are we done with here? Not yet, because this equation is not in simplified form. So that will be 2x minus 3 multiplied, what is 2x raised to 2? So what is 2x times 2x? That's right. So that will be 4x squared. Plus, what is 2x times 3? So 2 times 3. That's right. So that will be 6x. Then next, what is 3 squared? So 3 times 3, or a number multiplied to itself. What is negative? What is 3 times 3? That's right. So that will be 9. So the factor of 8x cubed minus 27 is 2x minus 3 multiplied by 4x squared plus 6x minus 9. So, are you clear with sum and difference of two cubes? Do you have any question about that? Shall we move to another types of factoring? Okay, let's move to another types of factoring. Kapasya, can you read the definition for our next types of factoring? Thank you, Kapasya. So, difference in two squares. Two terms that are squared and separated by subtraction sign. From the word itself, difference in two square. So, what comes to your mind after hearing it? Yes, Marina. That's right. So, it is like a sum of two cubes, and difference of two cubes is just that they are raised into 2, or they are perfect square. That's right. So let's have an example here. So for our example, we have 16x squared minus 1. Since it is difference of two square, so 16x squared is in perfect square, and 1 is perfect square also. So just like in cube, difference in two cube, we are getting the cube root of each term. In here, we are going to find its, that's right, the square root. So we are going to, that's right, so we are going to extract we are going to extract the square root of each term. So 16x squared and square root of 1. So we are going to ignore the sign in here, okay? Because if this is negative, the result will be, that's right, imaginary. So what is the square root of 16x squared? Let's focus first on the coefficient. What is the square root of 16? Think of a number that when you multiply to itself twice, the result is 16. That's right, so that will be 4. What is x squared? Square root of x squared. X. So the easiest one. What is the square root of 1? Think of a number that when you multiply to itself twice, the result is 1. That's right, so that will be 1. So just like difference of 2 cube, difference of 2 squares have a formula also. So that will be for the first parentheses. Again, for the first parentheses, same. That's right, so that will be same sign. And for the second one, that will be the opposite sign. So we are just going to copy this, then opposite of negative, that will be positive. So A plus B. Got that? Okay. So next. So just like in difference of 2 cubes, we are going to use what? What method? What principle? That's right. So that will be substitution principle. Okay, let's have Muller. Can you substitute the given values to the formula? Thank you, Muller. So that will be 4x minus 1 multiplied by 4x plus 1. So that is how we perform the difference of 2 squares on finding the factor of a polynomial. So are we clear with this type of method, the type of factoring? Another example? Sure, I will give you another example. Oh, are you done copying this? Okay, I'll give you a minute. Okay. Are you done? So another example, 16 x squared minus 4 y squared. Wait. In here we are going to, what is our first step? Let's have Karingal. That's right, so we are going to extract the square root of each term. So that will be square root of 16x squared and square root of, what are we going to put? Negative 4y squared or 4y squared only? That's right, so we are going to put only 4y squared because it will become imaginary if we are going to put the negative sign. So what is the square root of 16x squared? Focus first on the coefficient. That's right, so the square root of 16 is 4 and the square root of x squared is x. Next, what is the square root of 4? Think of a number that when you multiply to itself, the result is 4. Thank you, Lanan. So that will be 2. How about the y squared? That will be y. Okay. So our next step in here is, so again, what is our formula? Our formula is A, copy the sign, A, opposite of the sign. Okay. Next step. What is our next step? Substitution principle. That's right. So, can anybody substitute the given values to our formula? Let's have Mardocchio. Thank you, Mardocchio. So that will be 4x minus 2y multiplied by the quantity of 4x plus 2y. So do you have any question about difference of two squares? Are you clear with that? Okay, so we are done now with the 4 types of factoring. So let's have a summary first. So again, what is our topic today? Or what we have discussed today? That's right, so that will be factoring polynomials. What is the 4 types of factoring? First is, that's right, so that will be greatest common monomial factor. Second one, grouping method. Third one, sum and difference of two cubes. And the last one is, that's right, so that will be difference of two squares. So I will give you now a sheet work and you will do this on your notebook for about 10 minutes. So this is a 5-item and your time will start now. Okay, time's up. So exchange your paper with your seatmate. And the answer is here. Okay. So that will be 2 points each, okay? So who got 10? 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. So most of you, so all of you got a passing grade, a passing score. So so your homework for today is have an advanced study about finding the roots of polynomials and what are the different methods on finding the roots. So that will be our class for today. I hope you learned something and thank you. Goodbye, grade 8 students.